super actively antimicrobial, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory. So it doesn't create reliance, it just creates support for the body, because what the melatonin honey is doing is the exact symptom that your body is already producing, so they work hand in hand. It adds to the environment that your body is already creating in order to make the adjustment. And so you got to trust the symptoms that come up in your eyes and support them accordingly, rather than suppress them, which is what contacts would be, or it's what invasive eye surgeries would be. That would be a suppressant. Glasses, somewhat suppressants. Look at it in that way rather than an issue. The symptoms are actually what is supporting your body. That's important. Yeah, I've written here my answer is honey cures everything, so take it or leave it, but I believe that. Welcome to my eye health video. This is the most requested video that I think I've ever had, and it's honestly been so fascinating for me to learn more about eyes. I'm going to first take you through what not to do, the things you absolutely do not want to do when you are focusing on bettering your eye health and therefore overall body health, is wear sunscreen, sunglasses, or strain the eyes. The other thing you don't want to do if your eyesight goes poor is go straight to the optometrist and get glasses or a prescription contact, because I did that and it honestly has set me back so many years. And I can almost 100% guarantee, though I'm not a professional, but I know that from listening to other people's stories who have healed their eyesight, that it stops when you get your prescription, because eyesight doesn't just go bad because of hereditary reasons. You can't pass bad eyesight on. So it always happens because of an environmental factor, and that's why it usually runs in the family, because environmental factors usually remain the same within family units. Yeah, it's a really interesting topic. It's one I've been delving into. I'm by no means a professional. These are just things that work for me. So take or leave anything that I share with you today. Why not sunscreen? It's all about exposure. If you're not exposing your body to whole elements of the earth correctly, and if you're blocking those certain transmitters and putting chemicals on your skin, which is your major organ, you're not going to be getting the full exposure of life. That doesn't mean you can just go and be irresponsible and stay out in the sun 24/7. It just means that you need to be exposing yourself to the correct amounts of sun at the correct times, which is usually before 10 a.m. It's different in all countries, and usually after 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. sometimes. Now, we have really harsh sun in Australia, and I honestly love it. It also means that, you just have to be responsible for yourself and look at maybe the UV index or something like that to kind of gauge what you're exposing yourself to and what times of the day is the highest UV. And just be responsible. I don't think using sunscreen is responsible. So there's some pretty crazy ingredients in sunscreen. I personally surf. If I'm surfing midday, I will put a 2-ingredient zinc that I have, and it's basically just beeswax and the zinc oxide, I think, which I'm still looking into. I don't love it, so I usually just try surfing early mornings and evenings. Sorry, arbors. Sunscreen is a big, big no. Our body is constantly receptive to light, especially our skin and organs, and you want to be able to expose yourself to as much light as possible to get a healthy ray of exposure. Our skin also produces different oils. So for women, we have a special oil that is produced on the lower belly, and when that gets exposed to the first sunlight, and that's how we absorb things like vitamin D and nutrients from the sun, and it's super duper essential. Okay, the second one, sunglasses. Sunglasses are the worst thing that you could possibly do for your eyes. And the times when I've now built my resistance up to being able to stare directly into the sun, that's been honestly the biggest game changer for me and my eyes and the color of my eyes and the health of my eyes. And this is where exposure therapy is just working wonders for me in my life personally, because obviously I've used bee venom to heal certain allergies or to support the healing of certain allergies. Now the sun to expose my eyes, if you're doing it at the right times, directly when the sun wakes up, you can stare at that very, very safely with very little eye strain and very little pain. And this is just really going to allow your eyes and the sockets and then the muscle behind the eye that connects to so much in the body. All of the muscles in our neck and the ligaments and things are connected to our eyes, and it's all operating together. So if we're allowing the first light and the last light to absorb in our eyes, we're getting the max amount of exposure within that time when light is so efficient for our bodies to be absorbing. For circadian rhythm reasons. And if you don't know much about circadian rhythm health, there's like extensive amounts of research done on circadian rhythm, so just look that up and you can go and educate yourself. I can speak a little bit about it, but I'm not a circadian rhythm specialist. Can't do everything, sorry guys. But yeah, I just know that the more exposure the better. And yeah, this first light and last light is so beneficial for our eyes to be able to awaken and like really absorb the natural spectrums of light within the safe periods of time that you can look at the sun. Our eyes are constantly adapting to exposure, and that stretch that happens in our eyes when we're looking at the sun is so integral to the stretch that our eyes, so it's all about exercising. Like, we brush our teeth because we use them so much, and you can also exercise the jaw. Like, I was told that I'd get all 4 wisdom teeth taken out because I didn't have any room in my jaw. And also my wisdom teeth in the x-rays that I got when I was 18, they were coming up and growing like directly into my other teeth. So I did the same thing with them. I looked at the anatomy of teeth, how do they work? I delved into a bit of science behind the structure of a jaw. I also read the book Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston A. Price, and that was super valuable for the meditations that I then performed on my literal teeth, wisdom tooth teeth. Now all 4, I can really proudly say, have grown through perfectly fine. There was just a little bit of pain and irritability on this last one, but I have, exercised my jaw. I use Greco gum to, it's mastic gum, so it's got like incredible benefits for the jaw health, for the teeth. And I use the Greco gum, and I chew that, especially when I was going to the gym a lot. I would chew that while going to the gym because it's like an exercise for the body. And the jaw, doing this, like opening really wide, it's so like good for even all of the muscles in our face and the mechanics in our brain and all of our body. Our bodies want to be exercised, they want to be used, they want to be exposed in our life. So yeah, this one for my jaw was really amazing. And then it's the same for the eyes. You need to exercise them and use them, otherwise they will get lazy. If you're not using something, you get lazy. It's like the law of life. So yeah, it's really simple actually. But yeah, you don't want to wear sunglasses therefore, because it's just gonna stop you from using your eyes the way they were meant to be used. And yeah, the more resistance I've built up by staring at the sun has really supported me. Even when I'm driving and maybe there's more sun, I can see through it. Like, I don't really need sunnies for that. And yeah, my eyes are just so much stronger and more durable. Okay, another thing you do not want to do is expose yourself to blue light, especially after dark and before light. You don't want the harsh blue lights from screens or even LED lights in our houses. You just want candles after dark, really mellow lighting. And this also goes with circadian rhythm health. Some things I like to incorporate is obviously, like, I feel like everyone knows about these now, but the raw optics. So the yellow one is like a daylight lens. They're amazing for if I'm doing work on my laptop or whatever in the day. And then they also have nighttime ones. They have heaps of different styles, but they have nighttime ones, and they're the red lens. And they're literally a game changer. I don't talk about products if they're not actually good or if I don't use them. I think that's a waste of time. When we're entering into a modern day and new technology comes out like phones and laptops, there's consequences for everything. So there's going to have to be some kind of other tools to balance it all out. And yeah, these are really effective modern day tools to balance out modern day inventions and keep a healthy, happy lifestyle alongside all of these amazing new technological inventions. You don't need them. If you're really good with your discipline, you can just switch off screens after dark. Like, you don't need things, but they're just really great tools. Like, they help me integrate modern technology into my life effortlessly without having to have such a rigid discipline. Although I do really like to stick to a discipline of no screens after the sun goes down. That also helps with a lot of sleep and regulation in those ways. And sleep and regulation is also another big part to eye health. A calm nervous system and all this, you don't want to be stressing. Stress is a big no-no for good eye health, and literally just a good life in general. And that's a big one for me because I grew up in a really highly strong, high stress and high anxiety environment. So yeah, that's a constant little, like, I always tap myself, remind myself, like, come back into my body. But yeah. Oh, and eye strain. You do not want to be putting your body or your eyes into a position where they're straining. But yeah, there's like certain types of eye strain that are bad and certain types that are good. The bad ones are when it's like after dark and there's not efficient enough light for you to be able to read comfortably. Your eyes will be straining if you are looking at your blue light phone after the sun has gone down or before the sun wakes up, and that's the worst thing that you could do for your eyes. Really important to not look at screens or use blue blocking glasses after the sun goes down and before the sun goes up. And then along with eye strain, you don't want deep focus on one solid item for over an hour. Eyes need diversity. They need to be constantly used and in diverse situations where you are having to look really far and then close and then all around, and that's where eye exercises can rejig all of the deep focus that maybe you've done in your life, which has had a lot of deep focus in my life, a lot of study, a lot of reading. They're the things not to do. Now we're going to go into eye anatomy because this was the first place I started when I was looking into eye health and how I could better my eyesight after wearing contacts for literally 10 years, I think. The reason why I did contacts and not glasses is because I danced professionally when I was growing up and it was just more effective and efficient for me at the time. And I always like to make note actually of when I noticed something going poor in my health, like what was the timeline, what was happening in that time in my life. And for my eyesight, it was when I kind of stopped dancing as much and started focusing a lot on my study and getting to uni. And there's never one thing that causes something to happen, especially if it's like a chronic state. My eyes have been through chronic states of poor eyesight and it happened all at once, kind of. There's no such thing as coincidence. I really took note of that when I was starting to unpack why my eyes actually not working. I just built on anatomy and from what I was learning of that time in my life and tried to just decipher, okay, like, well, stress was definitely present and a few other things. Being mindful can really help because it can be multiple different reasons for people. Okay, one amazing story before I go into more of the anatomy of the eyes is that I went to Costa Rica and I met this bee lord in Costa Rica, Carlos, and he told me a story about his situation with his eyes. He left the Caribbean jungle and moved to Los Angeles to become a builder to make more money and send it back to his family. So it's like a very common thing to do in Costa Rica. And he eventually, after 10 years, I think, of living this lifestyle, very fast-paced city lifestyle, he basically nearly went blind and he instantly went to a few therapists, psychologists, specialists, whatever in the space. And they were all like, we don't really know what's happening. And because it happened all at once, he was really like, he became really curious. And one specialist who said, well, what was it like for you when you were growing up? And he was like, oh, well, we woke up in the jungle, like in a little hut, like not a proper house, like an open hut. So obviously he would have gotten first light in his eyes, no screens, no technology. He would get out, get some fruit from the tree, go for a surf with his brothers, lots of community, lots of love, lots of family, shared meals, like all these things that create a safe haven and also like a really healthy lifestyle for an individual. So he came from like jungle life, obviously went straight into this like fast-paced city life, and the psychologist, I think it was, said to him, oh, well, you just need to head home. Go home, see how you feel. So he did. He went back to Costa Rica. As soon as he landed back on the soil, he could see again. So I think that just goes to show that was one of the most like touching stories I've ever heard of someone with their eyesight. And honestly, that after hearing that story, it's when I instantly was like, I need to ditch my contacts, because I was still wearing them when I went to Costa Rica to the bee jungle, if anyone's watching and they remember when I went to the Caribbean and learned about the Africanized killer bee and other bees. So I would think that's when I was like, all right, I'm like determined, I want to ditch the contacts. And so I just let them run out and I never restocked. And that doesn't mean that I haven't, like, I've got like my eyesight back straight away. The other thing I will say is that there's no such thing as a silver bullet. Actually, you can, miracles are possible. You can just wake up and things be better, similar to like Carlos's scenario. But for someone like me, like, I've already worn contacts and it's already kind of progressively gotten a lot lazier over the 10 years that I wore contacts. So yeah, it's less likely for me to have like this silver bullet, but it's also very much possible. It's almost nice to gift yourself time to work on these things and witness something go from not such a good state to a really good state. It's been really, really rewarding for me to see that over the year when I was kind of like unpacking my allergies to the point where now I don't really struggle with any of them unless I get 4 tick bites, and then maybe, you know, it's not ideal. It's just really shown me like how resilient and how strong our bodies really are, and how much they can actually heal themselves if we give them grace and time and space to do so. I'm like enjoying just being within the process of healing my eyesight rather than putting pressure on it. And yeah, when I first started, I did put a lot of pressure on it, and I was like, I need to heal my eyesight, like stop at nothing. But now I'm like, it's just gonna happen when it happens, and I can continue to build on these routines and these tools that I've learnt, and they will support me within time. So about eye anatomy, obviously I'm not an eye specialist, but just Google eye anatomy. Have a look at a picture of like what it looks like, what an eye looks like, and like the actual mechanics of the front of the eye, kind of like a camera with aperture and exposure. These things are constantly working in our eyes. And then look at the anatomy part where the eye kind of turns into this big muscle and all the different parts, and learn the little names about what the names are in our eyes. And then this will really help when you are going into deep meditations on your eyes. So this is another tip. Get your notes out. You want to be meditating on eye anatomy, imagining healthy eyes. If you don't know Joe Dispenza's work, you could read some of his old books. They're really great. I read them and I practiced this with my wisdom teeth, so yeah, you can do the same for literally anything in your body. I also did a 10-day Vipassana retreat, and it's a silent retreat, and that was actually really monumental. The strain and the impact that my like thought and the line here, this is from thinking really hard and straining a lot of the muscles in my head and my eyes and my thought and my focus. All of these, I've been meditating on them, and then in the Vipassana, because you have so much time of silence and reflection time, you really are able to relax all of these muscles that you didn't even know were tense around this area. It does require persistence and dedication, but these things are so rewarding, so I don't know why you wouldn't do them. Eye anatomy is really good for weaving in with meditation and really envisioning and focusing on your eyes being the healthiest versions of themselves, and strong and agile and light and clear. So yeah, that's also all free. You can learn these things and perform these things for free. Eye health is actually free, same as everything else. Like, our bodies really are amazing at what they do. Okay, I'm gonna get into some products. Nettle. This is a nettle tincture. Nettle is one of my favorites. I love the taste of it as well. Nettle is an all-rounder. I used nettle a lot for my allergies. It's a similar philosophy to pain is medicine, poison being medicine. Oh, another one, ginkgo biloba. There's a lot of ginkgo biloba teas out there. Ginkgo biloba for memory as well. And then the holy grail, if you want to fully up-level your eye health and transform it and kind of like biohack it in a little bit of a way, even though I don't love the biohacking space, I do think these are like, they should be illegal. No, these are amazing. Sananga is honestly like a lot stronger, a lot more effective than Melapona honey, which is a lot gentler and it has a slower effect, but the actual qualities of Melapona honey are insane. And just the fact that like it's from the bees, the angel stingless bees, like they're just so magical, and I think it's amazing to be incorporating something like this in everyone's lifestyle, not just someone who struggles from poor eyesight and wants to heal it. I think that, yeah, this is just such a beautiful invitation. Sananga, they used to use it in traditions to go hunting. Before the men would go out hunting, they would put this in their eyes and it would make their vision really sharp and clear. So Melapona honey is stored in the hive in propolis sacs, and propolis is sap from trees mixed with enzymes of bees, and that's the sap is like blood of the earth basically, because tree sap comes up out of the roots of the tree. And so yeah, this is also from bark, so it's a similar concept to propolis, bark from Sananga shrub, and it has a traditional name which I can't pronounce, but roots and bark and this potency, it's like amazing for healing the eyes. Okay, now this is my favorite hack. This is one I somewhat made up. You need an all linen natural eye mask. It's like essential. this has changed my life and it's such a hack. And honestly, these are just, it's like my sleep and everything has improved so much since incorporating a very simple eye mask. It's literally just a piece of linen and a string and the holy grail of sleep and deep rest. And yeah, rest is super important, obviously, for so many reasons. You want to be getting adequate amounts of sleep, and yeah, especially women, we need more rest than any other thing on earth. I've been taking naps and using this, and it's really changed the game for me. And then on top of using this for good sleep, and just also the pressure over the eyes and over the forehead where we store a lot of our strain and thoughts, well, me anyway, I do, the pressure is really comforting. On top of that, I've been using Glow and Grow serum, which has herbs, really calming herbs in it, infused in castor oil, and it's really special potion, a little like drop, and then rubbing it in and putting it on around my eye area, especially under eyes. Not only does it help grow everything, like my eyelashes have grown so much, and yeah, eyebrow health, really rejuvenating for like the actual layers of our eyes. It starts here and has like an anti-puffy under eye effect. Like if you get, I don't really get that, but some people get like puffy under eyes and they do all crazy medical things for that. But you can literally just use a linen eye mask and some castor oil, and it just like, yeah, the eyes love it. It's amazing. And then to up level this one more time, sometimes I get some pearl powder. Pearl powder is one of my favorite things. And I put the pearl powder in the little drop of this potion and I mix it, yeah, put that on, and then yeah, this kind of like seals it as a nightcap. Get some really good rest, and your eyes and the potions that are sitting between your eyes and this mask are just like doing their thing. In love with this duo. Okay, what's next? We can do morning and evening stretch routines. So really simple ones can just be like sitting in a good posture. Maybe you've just done your eye meditation, and then when you're coming out of your eye meditation, just like simple, really simple, just side to side. You don't want to, like, you never ever want to do too much. I spent a lot of years in professional dance, gymnastics, acrobatics, ballet, like all these things. I learned a lot about stretching. I also completed a yoga teacher trainer course. And something that I learned throughout all of that is that a lot of practices will like get you to stretch your neck heaps, but like stretching can sometimes tie knots tighter, and you don't want to tie them tighter. You want to be releasing. So if you're stretching the neck from side to side, you really just want to like really gently like feel where the points are in your neck that are actually being strained, and then pressure release them. So just like placing our hands, so if it's this part of our neck, you just want to place your hand, like your fingers there, and release. You can get a bowl and you can do like stretches, but all of this is connected to our eyes and our head and the muscles here, like head massages, and like, yeah, that's just, you can just feel them. Like you don't need a course to learn this. Just use your hands and feel like where is the tension, and just press wherever there is tension and relieve it, and you'll start to notice like where the most tension is being held, like up here for me and here for me. But you can start to just notice, like play around with it and notice where the most tension is being held, and yeah, just practice releasing it. It's very simple. Back on the stress topic, we actually have really receptive cells to our environment, and if there's like stress that is being put onto us from an environmental factor and we don't have strong boundaries around that, then this is going to weaken our receptors and our eye health overall. Practicing really good boundaries is, believe it or not, amazing for eye health, because when we see clearly and when we see truth and when we see honesty and integrity and all of these things that make up like a strong body, then we are going to have better eye health. Every single symptom is energetic somewhere it roots back to an energetic thing. Playing around with like how can you witness things as they come up in your life with your eyes by seeing, and where are you not seeing things clearly. It's like an energetic muscle, I guess, and you can start to really pick up on where are you walking through life and not allowing yourself to see clearly. And this was a good one for me. And it changed more than just my eyesight, and it's a constant thing. It's like a constant unfolding. So yeah, it's been really supportive for me to just witness little subtle energetics of my life and how I'm walking through it and where am I not seeing things clearly. And it's just like making yourself aware of the fact that that could be happening and eventually you will start to notice all of these areas that are creating these impacts in your life. And it also is very simple, like don't read into these things when they come up too much, just notice it, observe it, that's enough, you don't need to do anything else. It'll just unfold naturally after that, because noticing it and witnessing it is everything without projecting anything onto that. So that was a big one for me. Okay, diet, obviously a big one for all humans. You really want to be working with the seasons. I had different types of contaminations from many different things. There are so many different things in our diet that can contaminate our eyes. Having a little bit of a research about what your ancestors were eating, and if that's too tricky, if you have too much of a mix, then just going with foods that are whole and fresh and seasonal of your local area. This will help a lot. And yeah, just looking at the seasons and maybe reading a book on Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine around doshas. These can really help you incorporate a more supportive environment for your body as a whole, and this will really affect the eye colors, because dietary contamination will show up in our eyes. You can read some studies on iridology, which is really fascinating. You can go seek professional help. I personally didn't. I just read a lot and incorporated what I could find. If it's like extreme levels of contamination in your eyes and you can see that you maybe should have blue eyes but they're actually brown, you might want to go and see an iridologist. And there's probably many out there. Just do some research and figure out which one's going to serve you best, because we're all different and we all need different people to support us on our way. Learning about diet, doshas, Ayurvedic medicine and Chinese medicine as well really helped me clean up a little bit of like seasonal eating habits. And there's still like one little circle in my eye that I can see where I'm like, okay, that needs to be a lot more clearer and a lot more blue actually. Yeah, I think my eyes are predominantly blue and green. The blue is on the outside and then it gets a little bit light green on the inside, but I've got a little line of red and brown right in the middle, and I know that that's not meant to be there. So yeah, just have a little gaze at your eyes, the color, and look into iridology if you can. I got a lot of questions in the stories that I put up a while ago, and I'm going to go through those questions now. I have my laptop here. There was a question: astigmatism and myopia, is it possible to reverse? Yes. Everything is possible. Astigmatism and myopia. So something that can really help with those two things is putting raw milk in the eyes, because when babies get this, the mum can just squeeze breast milk into the baby's eye, and that will actually be incredibly supportive. So you can mimic this by putting some raw milk, putting that in the eye. If you don't have that, Melapona honey and Sananga would be amazing as well. Okay, so if you are wearing contacts and you want to ditch them, but you're not fully ready to yet, ditch the contacts and get glasses instead, and use them for only essential things. Like if you are driving at nighttime, so at nighttime sometimes I will wear glasses to drive because my eyes get a lot more lazy, and it depends on what has happened in the day. Maybe I have actually had a stressful day, my eyes are going to be a little bit less receptive, more shut off, and I'm going to need some support just driving at nighttime. So yeah, you can just play around with it. Like, when do you 100% need support with your eyes, and when can you actually ditch them and give your eyes the chance to exercise themselves again? Try your best to just ditch the contacts completely, because yeah, they're not amazing for your eyes. They have microplastics in them, and I think that you can go without them. It might take some persistence and yeah, just some like adjustments in your lifestyle to go without them. Get glasses instead and wear them only for essential times. That's my tip. That's what I've done personally, and yeah, I'm really sticking with that, because I know that if I stick with this, then it is going to be far more possible for me to get to my goals with my eyesight, which is 20/20 vision, duh. I'm gonna probably go back to the optometrist and get a test like in a year and just see if I've progressed, which I think I have. Another question was, is it possible to heal eyesight? Yes, it is. Is reading a strain on the eyes? No, if you've got adequate light. Someone asked, they've said they've had glasses since 3 and now they're 21. Do you think it can be reversed? Yes, I think it can be. You have restored most of your vision. Do you still need contacts? I don't need anything, but I use glasses sometimes because I choose to. Do you need to wash the drops out afterwards? So if you're using Melapona or Sananga, no, you don't need to wash them out. It's really, really nice. And your tears kind of like do their thing as well. Your tears kind of adjust your eyes and wash a little bit of it out, but honestly, like, you want that to be absorbed in. You want as much as possible. It's so good. It's such amazing potent medicine. You don't really want that washing out, but yeah, your tears kind of wash it out a little bit. And yeah, it's super safe to just have like on your skin or whatever. It doesn't burn. It's just, yeah, it's amazing. If anything, it's probably really good for your skin actually. How long should I stare at the sun? Play around with it. You can stare at the sun for at least 20 minutes in the morning from first light, and same with like 20 minutes before the sun completely goes back over the horizon. So yeah, play around with it. I look at the sun at all times of day. I really like it at all times of day, but mostly when it's rising and falling. And yeah, just play around with what's good for your eyes. You'll notice that over time you will build up tolerance to staring at the sun. It's really miraculous. Reading by candlelight or red light at night because of eye strain. Yeah, I explained that. You definitely don't want to strain your eyes in that way. I think candlelight is probably too dark. You can get like a red reading light that's more calm on the eyes. Probably just like don't read after dark too much. I think it's better to read a book in the daytime, and if you are reading before bed, then I just make sure that the light's on and I've got red light glasses on, and that's a nice combo for me. I don't know how to pronounce this symptom, but it's called pinguecula. Pinguecula? How to heal it naturally is use eye drops to double expose the area and fix the circadian rhythm to support the absorption of light. It will strengthen your ability to handle light rather than deflect it. What do you think about end myopia and active focusing? And my answer to this is love the concept. It has definitely helped strengthen my eyes and the muscles in my brain, but my eye exercises alone are not touching the root. They are merely exercising the physical. I think that, yeah, it's really important to adapt all lifestyle changes, and this will be supportive in the long run. Eyes do not go bad because of genes. It's purely environmental. This is really important to understand, because when you trust this, you trust your eyes again, and you trust your inner authority, and then you trust the fact that you can actually get to your goal or heal your eyesight. And then almost your eyesight becomes healed because of that trust. But the process is also fun to endure. Someone said, my purse, which is like the measurement, is minus 7.5, which is, yeah, that's pretty intense. I think mine's minus 2.5. She said, is it possible for me? What was yours? Yeah, mine was minus 2.5, I think. So that's more extreme than me, and yes, it's possible for you too. Gotta be on these things, like, it's rewarding to be on it. Insight on surfer's eye, Petrigayam protocols. I don't know how to pronounce symptoms. Surfer's eye is when you get like a growth, basically. My answer is Sanunga. So many people have had results from using Sanunga for that. I've never had that, so I can't give you a testament, but other people have said Sanunga. So give it a go. There's no guarantee for anything. And also Melapona honey, because it's like super actively antimicrobial, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory. So it doesn't create reliance, it just creates support for the body, because what the Melapona honey is doing is the exact symptom that your body is already producing. So they work hand in hand. It adds to the environment that your body is already creating in order to make the adjustment. And so you got to trust the symptoms that come up in your eyes and support them accordingly, rather than suppress them, which is what contacts would be, or it's what invasive eye surgeries would be. That would be a suppressant. Glasses, somewhat suppressants. Look at it in that way rather than an issue. The symptoms are actually what is supporting your body. That's important. Yeah, I've written here my answer is honey cures everything. So take it or leave it, but I believe that. Yeah, lifestyle changes. Weakened eyes aren't producing their own hygiene anymore. So for something like surfer's eye, it's usually like a result of just a weakened eye. So just work at strengthening your eyes, work at using them the way they want to be used. Use them responsibly. Someone asked me, is sun gazing like laser eye surgery? I love that. Yes. My answer is yes. When you're labeling your symptoms, you really don't want to become victim to whatever that is, and you only want to observe and listen, because all of our symptoms are the cure, like what I just said. And yeah, you really want to support the symptoms accordingly so that you can help them heal rather than running away from them. Okay, I think that's all for my eye health video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll leave all the links to things in the little description below. Use the comment section. I read everything, so I can answer any of your other burning questions in the comment section if they're like actually good, appropriate questions. Yeah, you have to remember that I'm not an eye doctor. I'm just sharing my own experience, so any questions you have about that I can answer. Go do some research for yourself. It's like really easy to take things back into your own hands and learn about how things work in your body. I'm going to cut this in. Here are my eye exercises. Using a finger, you want to use it to focus on the finger and then focus on the whatever's behind the finger. You want it to be kind of far away. And using the sun, like having the sun directly in our like eye line for this process is really supportive for the exposure and the adjustment of the eye capacity. Continue to focus on the finger and then focus behind it, finger behind it, full light exposure in the environment. And yeah, this is really going to help strengthen everything. And then we can practice doing the classic, like going all the way in, can help you get like full range of motion, like first thing in the morning or as the sun's going down as well. It's like 2 o'clock, I think, something like that right now, so the sun's still pretty high, but for me this is fine because I've been practicing eye gazing the sun for a while now, so yeah, it's fine for me. But yeah, I just do this circles and you try and get like as far around without moving any muscles in the face and without moving any, like without moving your head, like keeping a really strong posture and literally just moving the eyes like in circular motions kind of slowly, so you really get all the corners. And you can, if your eyes are strained, you can kind of feel, like for me right there, when I get to this part here, I can feel the tension in my eyes, so I just keep moving back and forth from that part, and now I can't feel it anymore, so that got rid of that little part of tension. And then I keep going, and then I go the other way, circling the eyes around. I'm just doing it quickly now because I'm demonstrating. But yeah, I'd really practice and focus on this, and it feels so good having like all of the sun directly in your eyes. Like I can't tell you how addictive it becomes. But yeah, these are some like little eye exercises. You don't need much. Those ones are honestly enough for me. But yeah, I just take that into my life. Like if there's moments where I'm like on my laptop doing work, I'll make sure that I'm constantly looking up, focusing on something and really looking at the details of something that's far away from me, and then coming back to my laptop and really just like, yeah, being conscious and aware of our eyes and how delicate they can be, but also how strong they can become. Okay, ciao.